Well, everybody knows him. I mean, from the 9/11.
I mean, he's the most. They say the most free market of all these people. I mean, his healthcare plan is very free market, not trying to. Education is school choice, free market. I mean, if you're a free market guy, do you see him as the most free market or no?
Well, I don't know if he's the most, but he certainly seems to be open to free markets more than his campaign advisor is Boskin. Is that correct? Is it Mike Boskin? I think it is. Boskin worked in the first Bush administration. The Bush senior administration, and he's a pretty good economist. Although I don't think any of the Republicans in the race right now are sort of anti-market by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know Fred Thompson.
He's a very free market.
Yeah, I would think so. So I don't think the market bias.
Huckabee second in Iowa, and he says this whole thing. I represent Main Street, not Wall Street. He flirts with populism, I would say, on the Republican side.
Right. Don't forget the Republican liability is the real issue with the Republicans is not so much the market. I think it's the question of the link between the religious right and the market. I mean, in some sense, the Republicans have a very
rugged individualism. And
well, it's not just rugged individualism. There's also the sense that they bear literally a huge cross. I mean, the notion that they really are supporting some of these groups that are violently anti-choice and abortion, that are very, very active in trying to put forward an agenda that some people would describe as theocratic. So to the extent the Republican Party flirted with that, Karl Rove, a lot of religious right people, that is the bear. And I don't see anybody who's, I guess Romney would come closer in some way, but I noticed Romney didn't get the endorsement of
Robertson.
Yeah.
Giuliani.
Yeah, I know, Giuliani. I was very surprised by that.
Really?
So,
I mean, they look at him as most likely to win.
He's a divorced man.
Of course he's not. If you really look at the
court,
but if you really look past it, I mean, they say he's got the best shot. As Reagan said, you make a Republican who's 80% of the time agrees with you, your friend, not your enemy. So
right. No, I would think in terms of the basic fundamentals. I think what's going to happen, though, in this coming election, without talking about a specific candidate, is that I think the religious right is definitely going to lose its influence, no matter what.
That's what a lot of people say.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that coalition has come undone now, and I think Bush maybe helped destroy it, but certainly I think from now on, and I think, a lot of conservatives really are unhappy with Bush. You realize that he's not a conservative
behind closed
president.
doors, McCain rips him. I mean, a lot of them do.
No, a lot of, but look, we're talking about very conservative groups. Like you were to look at something like the
well, up until now,
Heritage
he spends a
Foundation
lot
and
of
so
money,
forth.
doesn't veto bills. Up until
right.
now,
I mean, a
all
lot
this
of
stuff.
his economic policies you can think of.
Greenspan
Kind of crude Keynesian. No, it's a kind of crude Keynesianism. The supply side economics that motivates his work doesn't have a strong empirical foundation. So a lot of the agenda here is not. So I don't support what Stiglitz is saying, kind of in a crude way. But what I am supporting is some notion that really I think that we don't. It's been a very foolish economic administration. I think they've not looked at the fundamentals. Even the discussion now they're talking about trying to make China reevaluate. That's crazy. I mean, in some sense, now we're getting a huge subsidy. If they want to take American dollars, let them consume them. They want to put them in bank vaults. But I don't think it's a well thought out policy. And I think the war in Iraq has destroyed this administration completely. And I think one of the casualties will be, though, this coalition. I'm confident. None of the candidates really is. I mean, Romney more than anyone should play, right, to the religious right. That would be my sense. But my sense is that he doesn't even, he's not getting that much salience from that.
No. I mean, my read is if it wasn't for Giuliani, he would occupy the moderate Republican position, which he did when he ran for governor of Massachusetts. But he saw Rudy takes the moderate position, so then he takes the religious position.
Yeah, and somehow people are balancing in their minds Hillary versus Rudy, although I don't see a natural balance. Hillary is senator from New York, but she's not exactly a New Yorker either. She's Midwestern. So I don't see, I mean, so you're talking, I was asking a lot of questions about politics. I have some sort of uninformed views about politics and so forth. I haven't read the agendas of all these people. I mean, I comment. But you have to understand, what I said earlier, I'm not that active in politics myself.
But your read of it, I mean,
everybody
it's not
reads it.
fragmented. Like, your ability to read economics also has to apply to your read. I mean, you probably cut through it and you see it well. I
can read the economic positions, and I must admit I am disturbed by what I see in terms of, I think the Democrats are going to be stuck with this anti-free market position, anti-free trade position, precisely because their base has been hurt. I mean, and that they can win votes this way. So why not? What worries me most is the following scenario. I don't know what Austin told you, but I know that
the Democratic Congress, and they just
the Democratic Congress, but also there's a sense too that they will start making promises which they can't keep. A promise that they can't keep is going to be the promise that somehow they're going to be able to open up, say, have free trade, but then retrain workers. So some people have been making that argument.
Do you dislike it?
Well, the evidence on job retraining for displaced workers is very poor. I mean, some.
So what do you do if someone gets their job outsourced? Then is there a moral responsibility for the U.S. government to somehow prepare them for another job?
Well, it's not moral responsibility for the U.S. government. I mean, the point is that you might offer them the right incentives, but it's not obvious. It's
so what do they do? Someone loses their job and what?
Well, what we do now with a large group of people. If you look at something like the Earned Income Tax Credit, we give people some subsidies to work. I mean, that might
find a new job.
Yeah, I mean, if you do
but
the
shouldn't you
cost-benefit,
retrain them for that new job or not?
Depends on how old they are and depends on how flexible they are.
But there's enough jobs, you're going to say, if they gets outsourced, they should find. They will be able to find something.
Well, look, they will, and they may take a lower wage, and then that's a separate issue.
Yeah.
But remember, there are two different issues here. You don't want to bundle these two issues. The one issue is you really do want to respect human dignity. So you definitely don't want people to starve to death. This is not.
It's a negative externality anyway. I mean,
well, it could lead to crime.
And increasing prices and all that stuff.
Well, yeah. But the other point I'm saying is that you taking care of people, subsidizing people in various ways, protecting them against what could happen. It does happen from trade. Doesn't mean you retrain them. I mean, there are other strategies. I mean, there are other strategies. For example, you might encourage investment in alternative pursuits. You might also encourage, and this is my view, is you might actually say, well, if people essentially aren't able to get a job at the minimum wage, maybe their productivity is so low, and they're 50 years old or 55 and they have very low skills, investing in them for another 5-10 years is not an economically efficient policy. It just isn't. What is
we
efficient?
just take care of them?
No, you can subsidize their job like we do with the EITC. Right now, people get a bonus for working. So we can do that. So
Well,
that's
thank you so much. I mean,
Okay.
just on that issue you taught me, I thought retraining workers was a good thing.
No,
but
I think it's
no,
a
and
huge
you're
issue.
right. I'm just saying,
No, I've written
you
a
teach
lot
us
on
so
that
much,
issue.
and
No,
I really appreciate you
Well,
taking
you're
the time.
too easily satisfied. I haven't touched a thing here.
That
But
was
I'm glad to
James
talk to you.
Heckman, 2000 Nobel Prize winning economist. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay.
So long.